Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today we're going to be doing another installment of the weekly meta breakdown where we look at the top performing decks on the MTG Arena ladder through various formats. This particular video is going to be for the standard best of one format. If you're looking for best of three, Explorer, Historic, if you're like the one of 7 people who still play Alchemy like me, you don't really do Alchemy that often, but if you want to know deck lists, just ping me in the comments or follow me on Twitter. I'm sharing some of the decks that I've been doing well in Alchemy with. In any case, what we do is we look at Untapped GG, which is what you see on the screen. It is a companion tool that aggregates a whole bunch of win rate data for its users. From a user perspective, you can track your win rates, your loss rates, deck compositions, draft stats, event stats, a whole bunch of useful information like you can see here. There's collection syncing, there's wildcard syncing, a whole bunch of cool kind of things. So like I peaked at 49 mythic this month. I have a 62% win rate. I can see all my records with various decks. You can also go, like, for example, to events. So like I've been playing a lot of the Explorer events. Speaking of Alchemy, 83% win rate. That's really good. So I'll link my profile if you ever want to see my decks. You can, everything is public, but it is free to use. A whole bunch of this functionality from Untapped. Link is in the video description if you do want to install Untapped. And then I do paste all the deck lists in the video description as well, so you can just copy and paste. But if you haven't Untapped installed, you can just do copy to MTGA, and it's a lot easier to kind of integrate. So we are looking June 13th to June 20th. Quick programming note on content for the channel. I was a little quiet last week. I'm going to be a little bit quiet just in terms of volume of videos this week. I am in the midst of doing some house renovations. I have to replace some windows, so there will be a gaping hole in the room that I normally record these videos on, as well as someone just drilling and installing, and just not really conducive to recording videos. Plus my streaming packet setup will have to be moved aside. So appreciate those bearing with me for the next week or so. We will be back with regularly scheduled programming, but you can always just subscribe to the channel to know when we go live with these videos, and it is greatly appreciated if you can drop a like and comment. It's free and it just helps confuse the YouTube algorithm and help my channel out. If you enjoy this type of video, I appreciate if you could do that. It helps me out. In any case, let's jump into it. Enough pandering. And top deck of the week, and just I've never seen this number so high for a deck. Boros Burn in best of one standard, 10,000 matches played. Usually this number is like 500 to 1,000 for the most played deck with the highest win rate. 10,000 is obscene. 58% win rate. So the thing is, this has the volume of games played, mere matches, and it's still pumping out 58% win rate. And I'll show you something really cool with Untapped in a sec. But for those of you who aren't familiar, it is an aggressively slanted Boros deck that has kind of a modified sub-theme with its spells. So you have like Kumano faces Kakkazan, which can put counters on things. Hopeful Initiate gets larger. With training, it gets counters. You can remove counters to destroy artifacts or enchantments. Bloodthirsty Adversary can flash back the burn in your deck, but also get counters. So you have Roil Eruption, play with fire. Sometimes it's just a 2-mana 2/2 haste. Luminarch puts counters on the squad, gets things bigger. Brutal Cathar is removal. So you have 12 pieces of removal in the deck, plus 13 if you squint hard enough at Valorous Stance. Sunrise Cavalier, time to shine as the premier white-based 3-drop. There's a lot of really good white 3-drops, but this one fits the deck really nicely. Day-night theme, gets counters on it, trample haste. There's a lot of ways to put counters on things. So you can have like a 10/10, but if you're getting blocked by like iTwitch, doesn't really do much, or wedding announcement tokens, Cavalier don't care. The horse stomps over. And then you got Thundering Raiju, which is kind of the top end, deals damage alternatively by each modified creature, but also stacks counters. Another good haste threat. So lots of haste in the deck. You got Den of the Bugbear as your land. Furycalm Snarl, time to shine. Revenge tour for the Snarls. But this deck's like obscene win rate, or just volume of games. And the cool thing with Untapped from the meta section, you can actually see the matchup data. So I'm actually curious, because like folks be like, oh, how do I beat this deck? So if we look at win rate, the worst matchup for it, and it's not even like super unfavored, is Mono Green Stompy, which is actually the second place deck we'll look at in a sec. 47% win rate. Selesnya Blink, I think this is a Legend VD deck. Sub like 48. Orzhov midrange, likely a heavy removal spell version. Magecraft, Selesnya, pretty much even. Mono White Aggros, pretty much even. Rakto Sacrifice, even. Boros Burn, even. And then just like all these positive win rates, just absolutely smashing like a bunch of decks. Like Jeskai Controls just getting crunched. Mill doesn't stand a chance. Like 70% win rate in some instances. So Esper Control 56%. So some cool like stats here. So if you want to beat this Boros deck, try out this mono green deck. So we have mono green, 1500 matches, 58% win rate. And this is kind of just your, we're seeing like varied versions of mono green over the last like year or so. And really what we want to look at, okay, are they on a Sculptor of Winter, or are they on a Lotus Cobra, or are they on like no other 2-drop? This particular version, and sometimes they like don't play Packleader. This one's going Sculptor, it's going Werewolf Packleader, it's going Ascendant Packleader, and then you're playing a heavier density of 4 and 5 mana spells. So you have the ramp early in this. You have Chariots to make copies of like your Invoke the Ancients. Invoke the Ancients as well, just gives you 2 good bodies with relevant text. Ulvenwald Oddity, just a good creature that could kind of flip and just present more damage. Notably, no Rangers class in this version. And you kind of look, okay, so what's the most popular deck right now? Boros Burn. You don't really have the time to set up necessarily for a Rangers class. You're not playing against heavy control decks. So you just want bodies and like bigger bodies to kind of work with that. You have some protection spells and then 6 fight spells with the deck, as in this case. Up next we have Azorius Magecraft, the deck I always end up losing to because they always have 12 slip out the blacks. So this deck kind of got a big bump from Illuminator Virtuoso. 2 mana, 1/1, double strike, and it connives when it gets targeted, so it could get larger. You have like Guiding Voice to learn, just cheap cards. Homestead Courage works really nice with it because you can discard a copy of it, flash it back. Protection spells and March of Swirling Mist, slip out the back. You see a Guard Approach that also can get rid of blockers. So really versatile suite here. And that's one of the things, like just the density of having these cheap spells for protection. We see Storm Chaser Drake, Security Bypass for Unblockable. This version's on Luminarch Aspirant. I've seen some on Ledger Shredder. You got Mavinda in here as well. And then I don't know what this Magic the Gathering card. You come to a river. 2 mana, fight the current, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. And then find a crossing, target creature gets +1 and can't be blocked. So just like bounce, so kind of similar effect. Bounce or unblockable. You got some utility lands in here. You got a lesson package. Pretty sweet deck. One thing you'll see, like I was mentioning, there's collection tracking with Untapped. So March of Swirling Mist, I'm missing 2 of them. I have 2 of 4. If I want to craft this, I have 33 rares, so I can easily craft this if I want to build this deck. So you can kind of see if you're building out your collection, what you can and can't build, and how far you are off it. Up next, Celestia Enchantments. We're at 56% win rate. So this isn't the Runes version, it's a more mid-rangey version around Weaver of Harmony to double ETB style effects of your various enchantments. So you could like draw 2. So with sagas, notably, you can trigger off the first 2 sagas. When it flips over and exiles, you can't. Well, it'll allow you to target it, but because it's flipping, there's no backside to the copy. It won't resolve. But Mashiko, basically, Generous Visitor and Kami gets things really large. You have Trample with Runamite. You throw on like Mashiko's plus, and then you just smash face. Jukai gets you a cost reduction. Notably, this one's not playing Hallowed Haunting, so it's just a lower to the ground version. I'd be interested to see how this one plays in just in terms of volumes of cards drawn. You have no showdown. You don't have the redundancy of Hallowed Haunting. Your only real card draw is the Runamites and then the Spirited Companion. While you can double up on some cases, it's not necessarily guaranteed. I also don't love the fact they're not playing any creature lands in this. You have stuff that's very specific to targeting creatures. Just having the lands sometimes just gives you some added utility. So I'd probably just add in like 1 Den and 1 of the green creature land. Next up, Jeskai Hinata, Jeskai Control. Hinata makes things that you target or get targeted cost more or less. If your opponent targets you, costs 1 more. If you target something, it costs 1 less. So with Magma Opus, you target a whole bunch of things. It costs 2 mana. Smack face. Otherwise, it's an Izzet kind of treasury theme control deck. Bunch of cheap removal, protection, Fable the Mirror Breaker, copying Goldspan Dragon because your dragons like dragons like dragons. And just kind of going there, you kind of dig into your kind of combo pieces and then use the Kirin Spirit or Goldspan to smack your opponent in the face. Also have the backup plan of Hall of the Storm Giants in there. And that is Jeskai Hinata. I've yet to actually play this. I play a lot of Magic. I have yet to ever play with a Hinata. I drafted it once and then couldn't get the lands to work, so I just played as it. We see mono white aggro, and this is actually kind of an older version, if you may. Interesting to see it kind of go back. So 910 games, 54% win rate. This is a cast 2 version of the deck. So for a while we saw Clarion Spirit, Monk of the Open Hand, and just kind of a weenier version, like Lower to the Ground. If you notice the 3 drops, typically when we see the mono white aggro deck, it's heavily skewed in the 2 to 3 drop range. This one's just like a ton of 1 drops, 20 lands, and then go to town. Skyclave and Maul the Skyclave. Wow, it's tricky to say. Maul the Skyclaves and Skyclave Apparition. It's a Skyclave package as your 3 drops. Making a bunch of small tokens, and then you're going to be playing Intrepid Adversary to buff the squad. Ways to put counters on things, get things large, and kind of smack in that way. Minor thing: don't play snow-covered plains. Just play regular plains because there's no benefit in playing the snows in this particular deck, and you're going to run into Redain once, and it's going to throw off your curve, and then it's just not worth it. Also, this deck is very easy to add 1 to 2 dens. It's pretty budget friendly right now, but you want some creature lands in here as well. It costs you nothing, and it kind of goes from there. The lesson board, they only have 3 lessons, but throw in some more lessons. There's the white one that target creature can't attack or block next turn. Probably throw in Mascot Exhibition, just a couple like cards like that just to add in. You have 4 of the Guiding Voice. Might as well have the options in there. And then lastly, Rakto Sacrifice. This is a Rakdos Anvil deck. And really it's just the nickel and diamond. This one's at a 59% win rate. Why did that go in reverse order? Oops. Okay, in any case, Raktos Sacrifice, doing better than... I got my tabs mixed up. This deck's doing pretty well. So you're just using a lot of like weenie style stuff. You're really nickeling and diming. This is very much a aristocrat style deck. You're not going to win by attacking your opponent for 30 in one shot. What you're going to do is, you know, I'm going to drain you a life here from the Oni Cult Anvil, you know, a life here from Meat Hook. Oh, my Voldaren Aperture pinged you for 1. You got treasure tokens. You're making a bunch of tokens, sacrificing those tokens, getting value. Obnixilus sacrifices stuff and then deals some damage. So a lot of kind of utility like that. Some dens and hives as your creature lands and kind of mixed in. So if you like those grindier style decks, definitely check something like this out. There's a lot of embedded card advantage in terms of like Synthesizer, Deadly Dispute, Unlucky Witness. The blood tokens help filter your draws as well. You have some pretty decent removal and Voltage Surge that can go up to 4 damage, as well as the Eaten Alives. And then Meat Hook, this card might be pretty good, especially when you see like this as the mono white deck, and you just laugh Meat Hook for like 1 or 2 and just destroy their board. But yeah, Rakto Sacrifice is the other deck. And like I said, here's my profile. If you wanted to take a look, I was doing some events. I was playing a lot of mobile. Actually, I'm better. I have 5 7 wins and 1 6 win run with the Esper Alchemy deck. This is the one I've been playing the most. It's been really fun. So it's just a modification of Croaky's best of 3 list into best of 1. I've been doing very well with it. I've been playing on mobile too while I watch like Stranger Things and stuff. So I haven't. It doesn't track on mobile. It's only on PC. So I've got probably about almost 100 games with this deck. Really enjoying it. But with your profile, you can track a whole bunch of stuff. Lots of fun decks. Been mostly on Explorer kick, but let me know on Standard what's good, what you'd like me to see me play, and once we get back to some gameplay videos, we can jump into that. In any case, thank you for watching, and like I said, appreciate if you can, drop a like and comment on the video. Costs you nothing, but helps out the channel. Thanks for watching, have a great one, and stay safe out there.